I was halfway through my second coffee, the morning fog still clinging to my thoughts, when the phone rang. Not a text. Not a ping. A full-blown call, rare enough to startle me. I didn't recognize the number, but something in my gut clenched. I let it ring once, twice, 3 times, and then I answered. Sienna. The voice on the other end was my mother's, tight and trembling, like she'd been rehearsing this moment. Your sister just walked out of her job. Again. She says you'll know what to do. That was it. No preamble. No apology. Just expectation, a familiar weight tightening around my chest. I didn't respond. My hand trembled slightly as I stared out the window of my small flat in Havenmore. Gray light filtered through the sheer curtains, casting soft lines across my bare floorboards. It was quiet. Too quiet to hold the chaos she'd just poured into my ear. Are you there? Mom asked. Yeah, I said. I'm here. But I wasn't, not really. My mind was already rewinding. To 2 hours earlier. To the message that started all this. It had come through while I was brushing my teeth, mint foam still in my mouth. One line from my younger sister Ivy. I'm done. I quit. You'll take care of us while I reset. No greeting. No emotion. Just certainty. Like I was the emergency fund she forgot to thank. Like I was born to be her safety net. I hadn't even blinked. I just stared at the message, then typed back 4 words I'd never dared say in my life. That's not on me. And then, before I could lose my nerve, I'd opened my laptop, scrolled past all the reasons I'd been putting it off, and signed the contract that had been waiting in my inbox for nearly 3 weeks. An international assignment. Housing included. 6-month minimum. Departure in 5 days. It wasn't just a job. It was a lifeboat. 10 minutes later, the call came. Mom. Not to ask. Not to discuss. But to declare. She's spiraling, Sienna. She needs you. You're the strong one you've always been. Strong. That word again. Like it was a compliment, not a leash. Mom, I said carefully, my voice low and even. I'm not doing this again. Don't say that. Don't talk like a stranger. We're family. Family. Another word they weaponized with a smile. And, just like that, it all rushed back, years of unpaid debts, whispered guilt, forced smiles over Sunday dinners where Ivy's failures were romanticized and my exhaustion was invisible. I grew up in a house where the word no didn't exist. At least, not for me. I was Sienna Gray, age 33, logistics coordinator turned unofficial family accountant, emotional first responder, and designated problem sponge. I handled every overdraft, every emergency, every forgotten rent. At Christmas, Ivy gifted poetry books and painted wine bottles. I gifted car payments and quiet resentment. Our dinners always looked like magazine spreads, roast chicken, string lights, a fireplace flickering behind old framed pictures. But beneath the warmth was a quiet kind of erosion of me. My paycheck. My time. My future. Mom's favorite line was, Ivy's creative, she just needs a little more support. Dad would grunt into a scotch. Ivy would sip wine and sigh like the world was a weight only she bore. And me? I'd foot the bill while pretending the math didn't make my chest hurt. When Ivy adopted a rescue dog she couldn't afford, I paid the vet bills. When her boyfriend crashed her car, I covered the insurance deductible. When her lease fell through, I co-signed the next one. Because that's what strong meant in our family. It meant silence. Mike, my boyfriend of 2 years, had called it out one evening when we sat on my worn-out couch, my phone buzzing with another emergency. You know they don't love you for who you are, he said gently. They love what you do for them. I laughed. But the words stuck like burrs under my skin. The Sunday before it all fell apart, Ivy showed up late to dinner in a designer trench coat and crocodile pattern boots. She'd bleached her hair again. Mom gasped like a fan greeting a celebrity home from war. It's been a tough week, she said, embracing Ivy like she'd survived a hostage crisis. I poured the wine. Later, Mom turned to me and smiled. You're so lucky, Sienna. You don't need anyone. I smiled back, polite as poison. Back in my flat, my mother was still talking. It's not like she asked to be this way. You know Ivy needs help. Just until she finds her footing. She's working on something amazing. I closed my eyes. I could picture it, some half-thought brand Ivy was building, probably with a ring light and a slogan about healing crystals. Meanwhile, I hadn't had a vacation in 3 years. She's building her future, Mom insisted. And I'm trying to salvage mine, I said. Silence. Then the guilt bomb. If you won't help her, don't come to Winterfest. There it was. The nuclear option. The threat of exile. I looked at the screen, her words burning into me. Once, that would have shattered me. But now? I just laughed. Not loud. Not cruel. Just a quiet breath of disbelief. Like finally waking up in a life I didn't remember choosing. That afternoon, I opened my bank account, pulled up every recurring payment with my name on it, and started cutting ties. Ivy's phone plan. Cancelled. Her car insurance. Revoked. Parents' house utilities. Deactivated. Each click felt like peeling off a mask I didn't realize I'd worn. No lightning strike. No confrontation. Just peace. Until the group chat ignited. Mom, family meeting tonight. 7 sharp. Dad, we expect you here. Ivy, don't make this harder than it is. I typed back one line. I won't be there. Bubbles. Then fury. Mom, you will. Ivy, you're heartless. Dad, watch your tone. I silenced the chat. Put my phone face down. At 6:55 p.m., the doorbell rang. I didn't move. Then came the voice, Sienna. Open the door. Dad. On my doorstep. I stood behind the door, breath held, heart calm. I'm not doing this, I said aloud, to the silence. He left. But I knew this wasn't the end. This was only the beginning of the reckoning. The next morning, my phone exploded. It was like they'd all been holding back and now the dam had burst. 23 messages. 4 voicemails. 2 missed FaceTime calls. And 1 very polished, passive-aggressive post from Aunt Meredith on Facebook. Some people forget where they came from. Especially after getting a passport. By noon, I caved not emotionally, just out of curiosity. I answered the incoming FaceTime call. All 3 of them were there. Mom in her floral apron, Dad still in his work polo, Ivy with mascara already smudged like the tears were prepped in advance. Her boyfriend, Joel, hovered in the background pretending to tighten a bolt on a chair he'd probably never assembled. Can we talk like adults? Mom said, smoothing the tablecloth like it mattered. I thought that's what I'd been doing, I replied. Ivy pounced. You made me look like some kind of mooch. In front of everyone. You didn't need help with that, I said calmly. You sent a demand. I gave an answer. Her voice cracked. You don't believe in me. You never have. That's not true, I said, and it wasn't. I'd believed in her 100 times too many. Joel snorted. She's wound so tight. No wonder you're still single half the time. I didn't blink. And you're still a freeloader in someone else's kitchen. Enough, Mom snapped. Your sister's trying to launch something meaningful. She just needs one thing, someone responsible on the paperwork. Dad leaned into the camera. It's not even a real loan. Just a signature. A guarantee. How much? I asked. Silence. Then Mom said it like it was a cup of sugar. Just $150,000. I exhaled slowly. You want me to co-sign 6 figures for someone who just quit her job and hasn't launched anything but a GoFundMe? Don't be dramatic, Dad barked. We raised you better. I felt the burn rise in my throat. Not anger, clarity. You didn't raise me to say yes. You raised me to survive saying no. The screen went dead silent. Jaws tightened. Ivy's tears came faster. You're punishing me for not being like you. I'm protecting myself, I said. There's a difference. Mom leaned forward. You'll regret this, Sienna. I smiled for the first time. Maybe, but I'll regret it on my own dime. And I hung up. The morning after I ended the call, I woke to a strange stillness. No buzzing phone. No guilt-laced texts. The quiet almost felt suspicious. I padded into the kitchen, poured my coffee, and for the first time in years, didn't check my bank account out of panic. I checked it for peace. That peace lasted precisely 40 minutes. A knock at my door interrupted it. Sharp. Rhythmic. Not dad this time, lighter. Hesitant. When I looked through the peephole, I froze. Joel. I opened the door halfway, the chain still in place. This better be good. He raised both hands, mock surrender. Not here to fight. Then why are you here? Ivy doesn't know I came. I thought you deserved a heads up. I narrowed my eyes. Joel was never the messenger type. He was the kind of guy who dodged responsibilities like taxes. She's applying for that loan anyway, he said. With or without your name. I blinked. She can't. She found a way. She's using the joint savings account. I almost dropped my mug. That account was for emergencies. For mom's surgery. He shrugged. She said this is an emergency. I shut the door. Hard. Locked every bolt. Then raced to my laptop. Logged into the account. $14,207. Gone. In its place, one pending wire transfer flagged as business seed capital. I couldn't breathe. I had co-signed that account years ago, back when Ivy was in college, and I was still hopeful. It was meant to be temporary, a safety net. She had turned it into her launch pad, with my half. My phone buzzed. Ivy. I didn't answer. Then another name flashed across the screen. Mike. Please tell me you're not at work yet, I said, breathless. I'm not. Why? What's wrong? I think my sister just stole from me. His silence was all the confirmation I needed. I have to get out of here, Mike. Now. Before they burn down whatever I have left. By noon, my exit plan became a mission. I changed every password. Froze the shared accounts. Called the bank and explained everything. You'll need to file an internal fraud report, the rep said. Technically, your name was on it, so it's a gray area. Gray area, I repeated, numb. Next, I booked an earlier flight. 2 days sooner. A window seat out of Havenmore and into anything that wasn't this. I boxed up the last of my apartment in silence. Every mug, every photo frame, every candle that smelled like survival. Then I found it. A letter. Folded, creased, shoved behind an old calendar. It was from Ivy. Written 2 years ago. Sienna. I know you always clean up after me. I know I'm the storm and you're the broom. I wish I could be different. But I'm not. And you'll stay. Because you always do. Love. Ivy. I sat down on the floor. She hadn't just expected it. She counted on it. That night, I left my apartment for the last time. Mike picked me up, a duffel bag slung over his shoulder. You okay? He asked. No, I said honestly. But I'm getting there. He drove me to a hotel near the airport. We checked in under his name. I turned my phone off. No more notifications. No more wars. The next morning, I opened my email to a message from the Dublin office. Subject, welcome to your new life. And below that, a second message. From Ivy. Subject, you're heartless. I deleted it. But I didn't block her. Not yet. I had one more move to make. The sky over Dublin was the color of old tin, low clouds dragging themselves across the horizon like they had nowhere better to be. As the plane descended, I stared out the window with eyes that had forgotten how to hope. Mike squeezed my hand once. You made it, he said quietly. But had I? The airport smelled like coffee and rain. The customs officer barely looked up when he stamped my passport. I'd thought I'd cry when that moment came, the official, irreversible start of my new life. Instead, all I felt was bone-deep exhaustion. We found our way to the furnished apartment provided by the company. White walls. Polished floors. A window that overlooked the canal. It was small, spare, but untouched. No one had cried here. No one had barged through the door demanding anything. It felt holy. I unpacked slowly. One shirt. One toothbrush. A passport I'd earned the hard way. That night, we ate takeout in silence. Mike scrolled through TV channels until we landed on something mindless and British. I tried to focus, but my mind wouldn't stop cataloging the silence. No calls. No guilt. No traps waiting in the shadows. It felt wrong. Like peace was something I'd stolen, not something I'd bought with every sleepless night. The next morning, the work laptop blinked to life. My onboarding email was clean and professional. A welcome package sat on the table. Keys, a map of the area, a branded coffee mug. It all felt too gentle. Like I was being let into a world where things didn't explode just because someone said no. For 3 days, it stayed like that. Walks along cobblestone streets. Grocery shopping where no one followed me to the register with excuses. Emails that didn't carry emotional barbed wire. And then came the message. Not from Ivy. Not from Mom. From Aunt Meredith. Subject, you need to know. The body of the email was short. Chilling. Ivy forged your name on another account. Your mother knew. I thought you deserved better. Attached, a screenshot of a transaction application. I clicked. And felt my heart lurch. There it was. My name. My address. My signature. Only, I'd never written it. The bank flagged it for internal review. But the application had already been submitted. Ivy hadn't just dipped into old accounts. She was trying to open new ones. Ones that tied me to her next collapse. I dropped the phone. Mike found me on the floor, back pressed to the wall. I thought I was done, I whispered. I thought I made it out. He knelt down beside me. You did. But you have to finish it. How? Burn the bridge, Sienna. Don't leave a trail. Don't leave a door cracked open. That night, I made a list. Not a financial one. A final one. Report the fraud. Remove emergency contact access. File a cease and desist. Speak to HR about security freezes. Block them all. I stared at the last item for a long time. I could almost hear Mom's voice in my head. You don't cut off family. Not really. But then I remembered Ivy's letter. You'll stay. Because you always do. And I whispered, not anymore. The bank took the report seriously. Within 24 hours, my name was cleared from the application. They flagged my profile for future fraud protection. I forwarded the information to my company's legal team. By Thursday, I'd done everything I could. Except one thing. I opened my phone. Typed out one final message. To all of them, Mom, Dad, Ivy. I know what you did. Don't contact me again. I stared at the screen. My thumb hovered. Trembled. Then tapped send. And finally, blocked every number. Not out of anger, but survival. That night, I slept like someone who had survived a shipwreck. It took 4 weeks for the letter to arrive. I didn't expect it. I wasn't checking the mail for anything but work documents and the occasional ad in Irish Gaelic I couldn't understand. But when I opened the slim white envelope with no return address, I knew. The handwriting was unmistakable. Ivy. I sat down on the edge of the small velvet armchair by the window. Rain dotted the glass in soft, uneven beats, like the city was breathing with me. I held the envelope for a long time. I thought I'd feel rage. Maybe even fear. But what I felt most was detachment. When I finally unfolded the paper, the ink bled slightly at the edges. Like she'd cried while writing it. Or wanted it to seem like she had. Sienna. I don't know how to start this without sounding like I'm still asking. So I won't ask. I'll just say this. You were right. About all of it. I took from you. I leaned too hard. I got used to you being the one who never left. And when you did, I thought I'd be free. Turns out, freedom is terrifying when you don't know how to carry yourself. I'm trying. I got a part-time job at a bakery. I wake up early now. I pay for my own oat milk. Mom's still hurt. Dad too. But not in the way they say. They miss the version of you that didn't have boundaries. They don't understand this version. I do. You're not heartless. You're just finally choosing yourself. And maybe that's what real love looks like. I'm sorry. Ivy _. I read it twice. Then folded it neatly and tucked it into the back of the same drawer that now held my passport and emergency cash. Not out of sentiment, but as evidence. That even the people who drained you can, one day, acknowledge what they did. I didn't respond. Not out of malice. But because I didn't need to. Work blossomed. My team started calling me Captain Calm. I led a project that launched a full month early. One of my colleagues, Saoirse, invited me to a weekend book club where no one mentioned family or failure or guilt. I walked the canal every Saturday. The quiet didn't scare me anymore. Mike flew in once a month. We explored seaside towns and ancient castles. Sometimes, we just sat in silence and held hands on park benches while strangers passed by with no idea how far we'd come. There were moments still. Old habits knocking at the edges. The urge to check Ivy's social. The instinct to respond when I saw Mom in my blocked list folder. But I didn't unblock. I didn't peek. Some stories didn't need sequels. One Sunday morning, I made pancakes just for me. Played music that didn't remind me of anyone else. And while washing dishes, I caught my reflection in the kitchen window. Same eyes, but softer. Not tired. Not hunted. Free. Later that day, I opened my old notes app. The one I used to use to track all the family bills. I scrolled to the bottom. Past every canceled payment. Every unfollowed demand. And typed one final line. Peace secured. Then I closed it. And for once, I didn't feel like the glue. I felt like the door. The one I walked through. The one I closed behind me. And the one I finally locked.